wherever in the world you are and share my findings. I've been observing this the causal effect for the hurricane, since it happened. I've been observing and taking notes, and knowledge is power in it. Right, so I've done part 1, so this is really part 2. So I'll be looking at the impact of hurricanes on the island of Jamaica and their infrastructure, examine the pitfalls and how to better prepare for future hurricanes. I will also be exploring Jamaica's position on the world stage. Give an overview of the Smart City project, the initiative that they're set in stone for the 2030, and how the initiative, we want to see how it aligns with Jamaica's broader goals of economic growth, sustainable development, and innovation. And I want to also take a look at how steering patterns affect hurricanes and how meteorologists utilize a combination of tools to forecast storm paths. Amazing. They use these devices to track the steering winds and more or less climate change alter patterns, as we all already know, that affect hurricane behavior and risks. Yeah. So I did mention this previously about the Smart City project that Prime Minister Andrew Holness set in stone for 2030. Now, it is quite pleasing to see Jamaica on the move, don't get me wrong, but we have to make common sense dictate, yeah? Right then, so this strategic development, the plan is aimed at transforming key urban areas into technologically advanced, sustainable, and resilient cities by the year 2030. So Melissa is a very intelligent storm. Melissa went to the Westmoreland area of Jamaica and really wreak havoc, I'm telling you. So there's no need to ask people to relocate because Melissa cleared the way in it. So this is a very ambitious plan the government has announced to partner with private sector players and international organizations to fund implement various aspects of the project. No person better than the Trinidadians. Let me see what's happening with them. Now, Trinidad and Tobago belong to a group of smaller islands in the Caribbean Sea, forming an arc from the Virgin Islands in the north to Trinidad and Tobago in the south, east of the Greater Antilles. They are divided into 3 main groups: Leeward Islands, Windward Islands, and I forget what the other one is. So Windward Islands, Leeward Islands, and that one lost me. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, the role of Trinidad and Tobago as one of the leading Caribbean economies with a strong industrial and energy sector. They play a significant role in supporting regional smart cities, so no doubt they'll be included in that project with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, because as you know, they all CARICOM countries. Yeah. So Trinidad had been leading as an energy exporter in the Caribbean until the last 10 years or so. Yeah, they've been in the energy game for over a century. Because organization like ExxonMobil committed $2.2 billion to Trinidad offshore exploration, which is awesome. But the last 10 years, Trinidad's economy has been on the decline. Trinidad foreign currency situation, high energy giving them a beating. The energy sector has not been earning at all. They used to bloom in the 70s and the 80s. but now there are potential pitfalls. So, although Trinidad produced oil and had been importing it for years, their refinery, called the Petrotrin, has been down since 2019. Very sad. So, over that period, their economy has been in decline, as I said, and the production is very weak due to international price of the commodities. So this is where jam down. Come on board. Jamaica gonna lead. Hey. So as you know, Jamaica is a part of the Greater Antilles, as I keep emphasizing. And the wheel turn. Trinidad is no longer the new Caribbean oil king. The Caribbean next energy powerhouse is who? Guess. Yeah, some of you guess right. Yeah, man. Jamaica used to rely on imports for its fuel. They used to depend on other countries for their fuel needs, but Jamaica, hey, guess what them doing now? They are the ones selling oil to Trinidad and Tobago now. Little Jam Down selling oil to Trinidad and Tobago. Ooh la la. Amazing. Now there's the company in Jamaica called Petrojam, yeah? It's Jamaica's only oil refinery. That was built in the 1980s, and Jamaica would import crude oil and refine it locally and then distribute or export the finished product to Trinidad. This is what they're doing now, because Trinidad hasn't got the commodity or the resources to refine oil. Yeah, they can export oil, but they can't refine it. So this is what they do. Refine it locally and then distribute it or export the finished product to Trinidad. Yeah, that's good. So they export the raw oil and then they buy it back refined. This is what Trinidad do. Export the raw oil and then Jamaica refine it for them and give them it back. That's what I'm trying to say. So recently, Jamaica signed two major oil export with Trinidad and Tobago. The first agreement valued 90 million US dollars. This cover close to 1 million barrel of fuel oil products. Secondly, Jamaica has 6 months arrangement with Pariah Fuel Trading worth 50.2 US dollars for 540,000 barrels of oil. And these are mainly marine vessel tankers. Since 2024, Petrojam has exported 4.5 billion barrels of fuel products, generating more than 500 million US dollars in foreign exchange. Jamaica gonna lead. Now, as I said, one of my little friends from Ghana tell me about how the government was giving each and every citizen like $1,000 or something like that, because them was doing the oil drilling. Yes. Yes, so Guyana now, you see what they're doing, every baby who born in Guyana. Every baby who born in Guyana right now, they give them $100,000. No joke. But Guyana don't have no oil refinery, so this is another opportunity for Jamaica. You understand? Who would have thought that Jamaica would be the supplier, delivering refined oil to Trinidad? Jamaica has moved from being solely an energy importer to establishing itself as a regional supplier of oil. Can you believe that? Jamaica certainly carved out his own space in the regional energy trade. Yeah, man. Them are going good. A remarkable transformation. A very big improvement for the island investment. It's good though, because it helped to boost infrastructure, education, and healthcare. That is so good. Well, right now, them said there are billions entering into the economy from all these export agreements. So, I don't know where them money there go. But if you have a word with the Prime Minister in it. All this oil exploitation represent a consistent stream of revenue. So, yeah, man, I'll do it for Jamaica right now. Yeah, this petrojam is truly an asset for Jamaica, becoming a consistent exporter to regions worldwide. As long as there's a demand for marine fuel oil, Jamaica good to go. Yeah, man, it's awesome. That is amazing. So it's good that Trinidad offer so much help to Jamaica during this time, during this difficult time. I'm really chuffed. Yeah, man. So I'm trying to get to how we can avoid storms in the future. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the path of storms. You see, many Atlantic hurricanes form off the coast of Africa, Then they travel westward to the Caribbean. Well, Caribbean islands, Cuba, Haiti. About 30 people die in Haiti, according to the news, yeah? So Jamaica lies directly in these common storm tracks. It is often in the path of hurricanes. Jamaica is surrounded by water, as we know. And being an island, Jamaica has no natural barriers to weaken storms before they hit. It's unfortunate, despite it being a mountainous place in it. So when strong winds hit and heavy rain, the storm surge from all sides. So I'm going to tell you some more about the steering winds. So Jamaica geography really exposes it to hurricane risk, unfortunately. Yeah? Especially as we said during the hurricane season. Don't travel between June and November. Just remember that, yeah? If you travel, January to June is good. December good too. But avoid June and November. From June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah? Don't go. So here's how storms and global warming are linked. Warmer ocean waters, hurricanes get their energy from warm ocean surfaces. As global temperatures rise, sea surfaces, the temperature increase, yeah, providing more fuel storms. Now this can make hurricanes stronger. I'm reiterating it because I want it to, my mother said, get it in your head with more intense winds and heavier rainfall. There's something also called increased moisture. A warmer atmosphere can hold moisture, as we all know, or some of us don't. This means storms can produce heavier rainfall, leading to increased flooding risks. Now, rising sea level is another factor. The global warming causes sea level to rise due to melting ice caps and the expansion of seawater as it warms. Higher sea levels worsen storm surges, those large waves driven by hurricane that flood coastal areas almost severely. And that's why you see in Jamaica there's so much place like covered, the houses are covered, the streets are covered with water because higher sea levels worsen storm surge. Understand? Yeah. Now Jamaica's geography. Compared to other Caribbean islands, Jamaica is one of the larger Caribbean islands located south of Cuba and west of Haiti. And as you know, the Dominican Republic, yeah. So Jamaica is centrally located in the Caribbean Sea. We all know that Jamaica is a land of wood and water. Despite the sunshine, it's a land of wood and water. And it places it squarely in the common hurricane tracks, unfortunately. And that can move north, it can move west, northwest during the hurricane season. This means Jamaica is vulnerable to storms and heavy rain from all directions, increasing risk of flooding and coastal damage. So we just have to, like I said, get better infrastructure. Jamaica is a mountainous terrain which causes rainfall, intense rainfall. When rain go fall, it fall. This can lead to flooding and landslide. Me know, especially up at St. Catherine there. It can also disrupt hurricane winds, and this is not usually enough to prevent a significant storm damage. Can't stop it. Now, hurricane was the first time Jamaica getting such a massive, they call it the monstrous hurricane. You know, this is due to change in storm patterns. Climate change really influence when and where storms occur. This is no joke. Sometimes expanding hurricane activity to areas previously less affected. Slower storm movements. This means affected areas experience prolonged exposure to destructive wind and rain. I'm going to tell you some more about steering winds. Pardon me. Warming temperatures may alter jet stream and large-scale pressure systems that control steering winds. Some studies suggest that the tropical atmospheric circulation could weaken, leading to slower movement storm and increased flooding risk. Shifting high pressure ridges. Climate change may cause shifting features like the Bermuda Eye, potentially changing typical hurricane tracks and landfall location. You know? So I'm gonna tell you briefly how to combat climate change. I think I did mention it before, but just to reaffirm what I said. They said turn off the lights when it's not in use, use energy efficient appliances, LED bulbs, renewable energy if possible, switch to renewable energy. My sister called me earlier from Jamaica, she's using solar power for her home, which is what most Jamaicans might have to start doing. Invest in clean energy. This is an energy that is generated from sources that produce little to no harmful emissions or pollutants. They have a low carbon footprint, helping to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change. I understand what they're saying. That's why I'm glad I'm not driving at the minute. So common type of clean energy includes solar power, energy from the sun, obviously, wind power, energy from wind turbines, hydropower, energy from flowing or falling water, um, geothermal energy, heat from inside the earth, and biomass energy from organic materials when managed sustainably. Clean energy contrasts with fossil fuels like coal. It's a contrast, two different things. And natural gas, which emit large amount of carbon dioxide and pollutants when burned. Now, the clean energy what is really promotes sustainable, environmentally friendly power generation for the future. So I think we should invest in that. And just to wrap up, the steering winds is understanding steering winds is crucial for predicting hurricane paths and potential impact zone, enabling timely warnings and evacuation plan. That's what steering winds. Let me say it again. Understanding steering winds is crucial for predicting hurricane paths and potential impact zones, enabling timely warnings and evacuation plan. That's right. Now, steering winds, these are large-scale wind patterns in the atmosphere that influence the direction and speed at which weather system like hurricane moves. In simple terms, these are winds. They act like guides to push or to steer hurricane along certain paths. That's why I'm wondering, oh, they didn't use the steering wind to push the hurricane away from certain agricultural areas in Jamaica. Now, the strength and direction of steering winds can cause a hurricane to speed up, slow down, or even change course. Imagine that. When steering winds are weak or calm, hurricanes tend to move slowly because there's little force pushing them forward. Conversely, strong steering winds can make hurricanes travel faster. These winds are usually found in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere and are influenced by features like high pressure system, low pressure throws, and jet streams. Now, time would fail me to name all of these, but the slow movement was seen in Hurricane Harvey, which caused devastating flooding, and again, Hurricane Irma 2017, the Bermuda Eye steered Irma on a long west northwest part across the Caribbean and then to Florida. The impact, the strong persistent ridge guided Irma over multiple islands, leading to widespread destruction before making a landfall. Hurricane Katrina was in 2005. The subtropical ridge steered Katrina towards the Gulf Coast, but a weakness in the ridge allowed it to turn north into Louisiana and Mississippi. The impact, the steering pattern guided Katrina into a catastrophic landfall near New Orleans. So, meteorologists monitor steering systems in real time, and what they do in summary, they use a combination of tools to track steering winds and climate change, to combat climate change, because the fact that it affects the hurricane behavior and risks. You understand? Jamaica cannot prevent hurricane, like I said, since these are natural weather phenomena driven by large-scale atmospheric and oceanic conditions. There are several important steps the country can take to reduce the impact of hurricanes and enhance resilience. So, I've named 6 of them: early warning signs, strengthen meteorology service to provide accurate timely hurricane forecasts, disaster preparedness, develop and regularly update comprehensive emergency plans, infrastructure resilient, build retrofitted homes, school, hospital, that means take away the zinc them, coastal protection, preserve and restore natural barriers like mangroves, coral reefs, and wetlands that reduce storm surges and coastal erosions. Community engagement, empower local communities with knowledge and resources to prepare and recover from hurricanes. Regional international cooperation, collaborate with neighboring countries like the CARICOM group, 15 member states, and International Organization for Resource Sharing for technical support and coordinated disaster response. So that means that when the hurricane can be stopped, these measures can be used to save lives. So just to summarize, since we know that hurricanes pose a severe threat to Jamaica, particularly when the infrastructure is weak and underdeveloped, we need to get rid of the zinc them. Jamaica is vulnerable to hurricane, is true. Therefore, it is vital to get rid of poorly constructed buildings, which can be destroyed by intense winds and torrential rains. Fragile infrastructure, so zinc, of course, it will go blow away for a strong hurricane come. School children in England know that. Another critical issue is the sinking or the washout of roads. When I see the road them out there, full to the brim and people drown and all them sort of thing, they need to build the road in such a way. They need adequate draining or proper foundations, making them less prone to sink. You understand? It less erosion and things like that. Now, I was looking at something on Facebook earlier, and the parishes that were severely hit were Manchester. Rising water swallowed the earth in a place called Content Curvine. You know? Nobody couldn't pass. The place become impassable, and it isolate communities. Now, this damaged road in the relief effort as well, because it disrupt transportation and it delay recovery. So if somebody dying because there's no access, people were dead. Key routes in rural and mountainous areas are washed out because of these terrible roads. They need to build more stable roads, which cannot be eroded by floodwaters, leading to sinkhole and collapsing roadway. That's ridiculous. So, last but not least, the widespread destruction underscores the urgent need to invest in resilient building practices. So the government need to build better homes for people. I hope them not build no boardhouse after this storm. Improve them drainage system and stronger road construction to better protect vulnerable people and the areas from future catastrophe. Okay? I hope you listen to this and prepare better, in the future. Because where there's a will, there's a way. All right. Thank you very much. Keep subscribing. God bless.